Satanist? Okay. Yeah. Why are you a Satanist?
Your God's not done much for me.
Oh, you're here because of the God to save me.
Because my parents fucked.
And God used them to bring into the world. The breath in your lungs, the beating of your heart. God gives every beat of your heart, every breath in your body. Those gifts. Those are gifts from God. The hair of your head, everything about you, God has made you.
See, in your book, they're gifts from God. In my book, the wind is a gift from the Creator.
God has made you.
It is a gift.
Satan didn't make you. God made you.
It's a gift of the spirits of the wild, the nature. So like, who's to say your book is right and my book is wrong?
And it's kind of a smart thing to do, like it was back then.
Who's to say?
What's that?
Like you're like all of your stuff is coming from your book and your faith. What about in my book and my faith, where the air in my lungs is there because the spirits of the wind will it to be there, or the fact that the
what were you saying, sir?
Ma'am.
Okay, what were you saying?
He doesn't misunderstanding Satanism. Most Satanists, or at least those that I ascribe to, don't believe in Satan as an actual deific figure. We don't have Sky Daddy like you do. Satan is more a set of sort of myth to ascribe to this liberating rebellion, this sort of individuality. Man is his own God, essentially.
Humanism?
You could say that, yeah, basically.
You probably, if you're a Satanist, you probably listen to Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan.
Not that much. The Satanic Temple doesn't listen to him much anymore. The Church of Satan does, though. So I guess I'm more Satanic Temple, Church of Satan. But it's more of an eclectic thing, really. I take bits and pieces here and there, whatever fits together into my own personal philosophy.
And in your philosophy, in a nutshell.
Essentially, my philosophy is be kind to others be kind to others when it is appropriate. If someone is unkind to you, you're allowed to be unkind to them.
Karma,
yeah, do unto others as they do unto you.
The golden rule, as it says in the Bible.
The golden rule is do unto others as you want unto you.
Yeah.
Satanism's golden rule is do unto others as they do unto you. So, yeah, eye for an eye, karma, that sort of thing.
He gets that from the Bible.
Yeah, like that's
Matthew chapter 6.
That's where Anton LaVey got it from. A lot of Anton's writings was just sort of like anti-Christianity, which seems really petty, if you ask me. Which is why I don't really ascribe to him much anymore. Like, I take what I can from his writings, but a lot of it got really weird. He was like a eugenicist.
What?
He was a eugenicist.
Not surprising.
Yeah. Modern Satanism doesn't really follow him all that much. They take the good and they sort of leave behind the bad.
Yeah. Well, how do you know what's good or bad, or how do you know like what to follow, what not to follow?
How do you?
How do you?
Yeah, exactly. How do you?
Well, I'm asking you.
What was the question?
How do I know what to follow?
Or what's good and what's not
What
good?
speaks to my heart?
How do you?
Essentially just what I personally think would benefit the most people and hurt the least people.
Is he doing like the whole you can't have morals without God?
How do you?
Are you going to go out of your way because you know what's right and wrong with every situation? If you see someone doing something, are you going to go out of your way to just like get all their business?
Like not even seeing it happen. Like this is like we don't have a medical campus.
How do you determine what's good or bad, or what's right, wrong, what benefits society, what doesn't? Because some people think that.
Honestly, it just happens conceptually. I think about like consequences of an action happening or not happening, and then I go with whatever would make that
I
action
wouldn't be
happen or
surprised
not
because when I went to high school in Tulsa, and I went to.
Well, some would say that certain actions are good, and others would say they're bad. So how do you know which one's right or who's right? Because Hitler thought that it was good to murder millions of people. Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, they thought it was okay to Charles Manson to murder people. You know, they thought that was a benefit.
They were insane.
But who determines that? Who determines whether someone's insane, whether someone's doing good or bad for the benefit of society?
What they would do is hurting more people than it would help, conceptually, then that would be
kids that
bad.
are like actually in need of help.
I don't know the population of Germany back in the Weimar Republic days, but Hitler killed, was it 10,
Well, in the words of my uncle,
13,000 people,
all
or 13 million
pregnancies should
people,
be
sorry.
aborted until all the foster kids have hope.
I think that if you have to
agree with
kill
that.
more people than there are in a
Sad
certain
that no
situation than
And he's
would be
crying
helped by
because
that,
these people that can't take care of a kid want to divorce.
then it would be bad.
Like, that's
And
the issue that I have.
frankly, if anyone has to die for a certain good thing to happen, then yeah, it's
take
probably
care of
bad, but
that.
sometimes it is necessary.
But he
I'm not saying it's necessary in all situations or that you should go to that first. You should try and find other venues through which to do that.
And why is it wrong to murder people?
That's true.
Or to harm anyone? Why is that wrong?
Life and pro-life
Because
just
the
stands,
whole
as long as you're
harming
alive, we don't care what
people
happens
would
to
hurt
you.
the larger corpus of the tribe. So that's a person that would rather not have, that's a person that would rather not have contributed to society.
I don't know what I want to do, but I want to do something that impacts me.
Sorry, all the talk you ready is getting a bit.
They've been doing it for a while, so
Oh, you did?
this is actually one of the more quiet times.
Yes. I do want to say this. I was making fun of you earlier, but I do try and like come at people like to see like where they're coming from. I do try and understand people.
Well, I'm also.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's those who do come up and speak rationally without cursing, getting in our face, screaming. I do believe they'll see that we're rational, reasonable people. We have a reason for why we're doing it.
Oh no, yeah, I absolutely understand. There are definitely reasons as to why abortion should maybe be like cut back. Like I personally don't think that abortion should happen like throughout the entirety of the trimester. I think that at a certain point a fetus does become a human being, but that doesn't happen until
I don't want kids either.
I would say probably until it could survive well enough on its own. Like if you could.
Abortions past the point of viability are unnecessary.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, it's not necessary to murder anybody.
But he wouldn't understand the phrase point of viability. So you might.
Actually, I do. I don't agree with it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, personally, I think that.
Did you know that almost there are no abortions that happen past the point of viability?
Keep talking.
No, she does have a point actually.
Actually, she's wrong. It does happen.
Actually, no.
Usually they just induce birth.
What is the point of viability? Do you know what the point of viability is?
The child is able to survive outside the womb.
Okay, do you know what that point is? Like
about-
the average point in the
They say it's
pregnancy.
about 20, 22 weeks.
No, it is not about 22 weeks. The point of viability doesn't occur until week 31.
Well, that's what they have.
Week 31.
That's what they have
That's
laws
more
in the
than
books.
halfway through the third trimester.
I don't usually check my phone.
Almost virtually no abortions happen past the second trimester.
Although some do.
I mean, at that
Virtually
point,
no.
at
And the
point,
ones
they
that
just
do
cesarean
happen,
them,
the
I
ones
think.
that do happen only happen because they are medically necessary to the survival of the mother.
Now remember, that's
If the-
denial science.
But you were saying, go ahead.
Usually at that point, once they get past the point where they would like survive outside the womb, usually they would either induce birth or just give them a cesarean
Like,
section.
they don't even
Maybe
comprehend.
like an
They don't
incubator
even comprehend like why
or something
abortion
like
happens.
a premature
I just
birth
come out
baby.
here to troll at this
They would
point.
just
That's what I've been doing.
they would
I've been
just
trolling,
cesarean
but I've been
into
trolling
an
with
into an
knowledge.
incubation chamber.
Like I brought out the Tanakh, and he,
So,
as if the Tanakh is not a part of the Bible.
I know.
so like, what your beliefs? You got a little bit into why you have these beliefs. I guess how'd you come? Like, did you grow up as a Christian at all? Professor
you
Christian,
follow
grew up in
the
the
Tanakh.
I
church.
wasn't really
But if
growing
you
up
follow
with
the
like
Tanakh,
I wasn't really raised
why do you like
with like a specific religion.
But
Like
then
my
when you bring
parents
that up,
didn't
he said that's the old
like I didn't go to church as a child. I didn't like say grace at the table.
Because he doesn't
but
have
my
a
father was a
point.
very devout Christian.
He just
my
has
mother is a deist. She doesn't really believe in like God,
Barely
but
even
she's
that.
in
He
like
comes
a
to
higher
college
power and all
just
that.
because he never got it.
I did go to a Baptist
He says he has a
chapel,
degree in
though. We had
business,
one,
but if so, he's very horrible at
like
it.
on our elementary campus. So I went to that for a while,
Sometimes
and then
I wish
started
I was aborted.
asking a lot of questions. Not
Why
because
do
I was
I
trying
have
to
to
be
pay rent
like
because
difficult
he's
or
got it
anything.
all?
I'm just a very inquisitive person. I like to ask questions.
Good.
To know things.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, which is why
As long as you're good listeners.
yeah, which is why I talk to people like this. Is that I like to learn things. I like to know where people are coming from.
That's good. That's good. It's great to have.
Yeah, so in chapel I started to ask a lot of questions, and they kind of didn't like that, and they eventually just banned me from the chapel.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, you'd think, because they should answer my questions if I'm asking them.
Some of those questions you're asking, I probably asked myself.
Yeah. There was questions like I was like 5, 6, you know. So it was like, how would they fit all the animals on the boat? They're like, we don't have time to answer that. Like,
Or how did Satan sin in heaven when heaven is perfect?
Yeah,
I've asked that question myself.
But if God knew that they were going to eat the apple because God knows everything, why He put the apple there? We're not trying to answer that question. So
I mean, these are common questions.
Yeah,
I've
questions,
had,
yeah.
and it's what I've concluded, for what it's worth, because I've had many other questions. Because God saved me later in life. I didn't grow up a Christian at all. Grew up in the public school system, not churched, and I had a lot of questions too. And what I concluded was, well, some of these things I can get an answer for, but some of them I can't. I can't explain the Trinity. I'm not going to try to, because no one can explain the Trinity. And why did Adam, or why did God put the tree of the knowledge of good and evil in the Garden of Eden to tempt Adam and Eve? I don't know. But what I have concluded, some may not like this answer, but is God is perfect and He's in control, and I don't need to know everything. Because one of the conclusions I made about it was that can be prideful on my part if I want to know everything. If I'm not happy unless I know everything. Well, I don't know this, so God is perfect, and He did not make us to know everything. He's infinite. We're finite. We're not supposed to know everything. That may not suffice, or that may not, bring into satisfaction. But it is a little prideful or very prideful for us as finite human beings, sinful human beings, to want to know everything when God is perfect and He didn't give us the capability. Even the angels don't know everything, I don't believe. And so you've read the Bible?
yeah.
Okay. You have a copy of the Bible?
I've talked to him.
You have a copy of the Bible?
I have, it's not the copy that I read when I was younger, but I do have, a copy that came with the RV that we're currently living in, and then I got one here on campus a while back. That's one of those little pocket Bibles.
Do you read it?
I don't read it on, a regular basis. I have a lot of schoolwork to do, so I don't really get much time to read. But I did used to read through the Bible a lot, yeah.
Okay. So you read about what God says about Himself, what God says about mankind.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people make a lot of assertions about the Bible that I heard earlier, a lot of contradictions. A professing Christian was saying that. A lot of contradictions in the Bible. Sad coming from a professing Christian, but...
there are contradictions in everything. And even if God was directly speaking through someone else, they are still humans who are writing these down. So, and even throughout the ages, different kings and emperors and triumvirates and whatever the fuck have come through, and they retranslated the Bible, because it's been translated from Aramaic to Arabic to French to all these different languages.
To English.
Yeah, eventually over here to English.
But it's so funny to me that he's really trying to
And
so eventually somewhere along the line, because this is a game of telephone that's been spanning from 0 AD to 2020. There's got to be some point in there where someone came in and said, I'm going to translate this wrong to fit my own needs, which is probably where the contradictions came in.
well, would you
that is a...
would you say it's possible that if God is perfect, that He could, even using sinful human beings, that He could preserve His holy word throughout the centuries? I think that's possible.
Perhaps the first few, yeah, but if someone came in maliciously and tried to purposefully change the Bible, then I feel, because God hasn't really done much to stop or bring about things currently. He probably has bigger issues going on than some random emperor back in 800 BC rewriting his holy book.
He could stop that person.
He probably could have, yeah.
Well,
But I mean, he can't stop. Sure, he's all powerful and he's all knowing, but he can't stop everything all the time.
well, he could if he wanted to. He can.
Maybe.
I mean, he's not like us. His ways are much higher, and he can do anything he wants. He's everywhere. He's present everywhere. We can only be present where we're at. But one question to consider yourself is, and that's what I and the Christians who were here before care about most is, even if you support or don't support the murder of babies, is where you're gonna spend eternity. The question to ask yourself is, if you were to die today, where would you go? What would happen to you? And that, would you go to heaven, hell? Do you say, well, I just lay on the ground to be eaten by worms? And that is really the most important thing, because there are people that die and go to hell that support us being out here. And so, I mean, I don't as much care about what they think about, that were showing images of murdered babies. I'd hope they would care about these children and want to do something to stop this injustice. I care much more about their soul, where they're going to spend eternity. And so that's, and I did not get your name. I'm Nicholas.
Desiree.
Desiree, that's your nickname. Yeah, what does that name mean? Do you know?
One to be desired, unless I'm mistaken.
One to be desired.
Yeah.
Consider that. You can answer me if you want. You don't have to. Where will you go if you were to die today? Where would you go?
Honestly, at best, purgatory, but probably hell. I've done my best to do good things, but I'm not exactly the best person. No one is. I'm still getting better as we speak.
How do you know if you're a good person or not?
Honestly, you don't really. You just kind of have to hope.
Well, I can answer that right now. The Bible says that no one is good. You're not good, and neither am I. No one out here is good. That includes all the Christians that have been here. That includes me. And you may know this part of the Bible. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So, another way to tell, just take the Bible for what it says there, but also, for those who think they're good, those who think they're good enough to go to heaven, I grew up thinking I was good, and I was wrong, okay, look at the 10 Commandments written on your heart, written on my heart, written on all the hearts out here, and examine yourself according to the 10 Commandments. That will tell you if you're good or not. And you know the 10 Commandments. You may know some of them by heart.
I couldn't list them all like 10, like 1 to 10 right now.
But you know them. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not commit murder. You shall honor your father and mother.
Thou shalt worship the Sabbath. Thou shalt, yeah, all that stuff.
And the two that can trip people up is you shall not commit adultery. Jesus said if you look at a woman to lust after her, you've already committed adultery with her in your heart. I don't think there's a guy out here that's not done that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not the exception, unfortunately.
That's really just human nature.
And because we're sinful human beings. And also, you shall not murder. Jesus said if you hate your brother, you've committed murder against him in your heart. So we're murderers because we've all hated people. We all have. And we're murderers because, a lot of us are murderers because we murdered our babies, or we supported the murders. So we've committed hatred against our neighbors, and many of us have murdered our own children, or encouraged it, or driven someone to murder their baby, a mom or dad. And so, looking at the 10 Commandments, would you be innocent or guilty? Honestly.
Guilty.
And what's that?
I've committed a few of those.
And I think you already said you think you'd go to hell.
Probably, yeah.
So does that bother you at all?
Well, in all honesty, if it does exist, and I'm kind of dubious either way if it does or doesn't. I'm an agnostic satanist, but being honest, I don't actually know anything. I say I do. I like to joke that I do. I like to pretend that I do. I don't. I still have thoughts time to time of what if it is, what if it isn't.
What is or what isn't?
Or like if God is real, if God isn't real, if there is an afterlife, if there isn't an afterlife. I don't really know.
So you're not really a Satanist?
I am. It's just Satanism isn't exactly like atheism or anti-theism. There are different subsects within it. You do have Satanists who do believe there is an actual goat-headed man beneath the earth, rules over sinners. You have atheistic Satanists who don't believe there's anything, and then you have agnostic Satanists who kind of don't know either way, but just decide to go with this because it's just a philosophy, which is me. I didn't actually get to finish. I'm telling you why. How I eventually became a Satanist.
I hope it wasn't because I didn't interrupt you, right?
No.
Okay.
I think something over there happened to distract us, but
that's been happening for a while.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
But after I wasn't allowed to go to chapel anymore because I asked too many questions because I was an inquisitive 7-year-old boy. They eventually. I was a boy then. I transitioned 2 years ago. I kind of started to get further and further away from the church as time went on, and eventually I discovered atheism, which was not believing in God, and I said, hey, I do that, I don't believe in God, I guess I'm that. Eventually, going on YouTube and online, and following like atheist content creators and like atheist like philosophers, I eventually came across one who talked about Satanism, and I was intrigued at most because all I'd heard about Satanism before was like blood rituals and like sacrifices and eating babies and all that. So I looked into a bit, and I found that at least modern Satanism is more a thing of like asshole Buddhism, basically, where bad things happen to bad people because they're bad, and all that sort of like karma, like you said before. Be kind as far as you can be. The chief tenet of satanic tenets is to always be compassionate within reason, which is essentially be nice, but if someone is like getting up in your face and yelling or they're disrespecting you, then you have full reign to disrespect them right back, because why would they expect anything different?
I think I heard Anton LaVey speak of that in an interview. That's maybe you've seen it. He was interviewed in 1967, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think I heard him speak of that.
And so I sort of like kept on reading through it and like discovering more, and I eventually figured out like this whole thing fits essentially my philosophy to a T, because I'll be honest, I'm a reasonably confident person. I don't really take like disrespect from other people. I'm a very confident person. So finding like an ideology, I'm content to just be an atheist for the rest of my life, but I chose this because humans just inherently look for something greater. And the Satanic Temple is just what stuck out to me as something that's would best fit me, because they also fight for a lot of, or at least the Satanic Temple does. Church of Satan is content to sort of sit over on its own and do what it wants. The Satanic Temple is essentially just like a progressive movement. And so they fight for a lot of different things. They fight for like trans rights. I think they're actually down in Texas right now fighting against Greg Abbott's most recent bill. And they do a lot of...
what recent bill?
He put forth a bill that essentially if parents allow their children to get like affirmative treatment, like hormone blockers, or like they get to go on estrogen, or any of that sort of thing, then they can be reported and the children can be taken away.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I think that they're, or at least they're planning to go down there and do something about that. I'm not sure if they actually want on. I don't really get into the whole activism thing myself. I don't really have the energy or time for it, and I don't want to get arrested just in case,
See what we're doing.
I mean, well, yeah, but like going to like a big protest, like the BLM stuff that happened back in like 2020.
Yeah. Went to some of that, and I might be around a whole lot of people, so it's. But people know the gospel, so even if they hate you for it.
Let me turn the other cheek, right?
Yeah, and I've had to do that many times, and I hope you understand that I'm here, and the others who are here, they had to leave early. Why we're here? That we're here.
Yeah, you're in good faith. Yeah,
we're here because we care about you.
I would not say they're here in good faith.
We're here because we.
Well, they're at least they believe they're trying to.
Don't play devil's advocate, Desiree.
I'm a Satanist. That's the whole
thing.
thing.
You have a problem about that.
I'm a Satanist. I play devil's advocate. I am a devil's advocate.
They're here because they are misogynistic pieces of shit. Don't be good faith. There's nothing. So like the catch is you don't want to be good faith with him, because that makes him think he makes a change. He's not making a change. You're still going to be pro-abortion after this.
Satanist is more respectful than most people here.
Pro-choice after this. He's still going to be anti-abortion. He's just a shitty person. He's being shitty about it. I mean, you call a rock a rock.
You can continue. She's been bad about interrupting the whole day.
I mean, I interrupt people myself.
As you were saying.
Yeah. What was I saying? Right. Yeah. At the very least, you are here, or at least you believe you're here to like help, like fetuses who are being aborted and stuff like that, and like power to you, I guess. Like whatever makes you feel good, as long as you don't like hurt anyone in doing this, which is really my like the chief thing of my philosophy is that, like above everything else, do whatever you want, but the right to swing your fist ends where the tip of someone else's nose begins.
You know who the philosophy do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Does that sound familiar?
It does, yeah.
The 19th century Satanist Aleister Crowley, father of modern day Satanism, known as the wickedest man on earth in his time, and rock and roll bands. I think was the Rolling Stones or the Beatles that put that in one of their albums. Do what thou wilt, as long as you don't hurt anybody. They include that, and that's of course that's what we see in this country is we are doing what we want to do, but we are hurting people, even to the point of hurting people, and.
That's kind of America's whole history, is doing what they want and hurting people.
Yeah, I mean it's been going on for a long time, and but as I was saying earlier, we're here because we care about people. We love people. I know some people think no, we're hateful or we don't love people. I wouldn't be here if I hated people. And
that's the thing. That is the thing that a lot of people tend to not understand, is that like not every single person that is a part of a movement is like ascribes to the worst part of them. Like there are most assuredly anti-abortion people who are just like misogynistic, women-hating fucking monsters. But there is a good chunk that genuinely believes that they are trying to help fetuses. And to that, my real answer is that there is like technology currently in the works to try and essentially like an artificial womb, like. Once like a fetus reaches a certain point, it can be extracted and then put into this artificial womb, and then it will gestate there. And that's really interesting to me. And I think that would solve a lot of like the abortion thing, because like the baby then would die. It could reach fruition, I guess. It could like grow into a state where it can support itself, and it could like be born like an actual baby, and then it could be handed off to like an adoptive parent or something like that, or like someone else who set something up. Because a lot of people don't actually know about that or talk about that, but I feel like that would solve a lot of the issues between like pro-abortion and anti-abortion people. You know?
I don't think so, because we'll look for any way to murder a baby. I mean, the problem in this country is there's a lot of problems, but we're just a bunch of selfish people. The reason people murder their babies is because they don't want to be responsible. I know, because I've been to the abortion mills. I've seen them go in. I've seen them come out.
I mean, but yeah, like the artificial womb
find a way.
If we put enough research into that, and we can eventually build a machine that can gestate a baby for us instead of having a woman do it, then it would solve the issue of abortion. Because why would you get an abortion now? Because you don't need to kill the baby to get rid of it. You can just extract it and then put it into this gestation chamber, and then it will grow up and be a human then.
Well, they murdered the baby before then. That's what they're doing.
I don't know, yeah. Now, but like we don't have that technology now, so there's not really much we can do.
You mean as soon as the baby is fertilized? Or
well, I'm not an expert in this technology. I'm
not sure anyone is, but
I'm a fucking English education major. Like my focus is not cybernetics, but there are like studies and like there's an effort to make this artificial womb so that
I've heard of that before, and we should just let God be God, and He designed it a certain way. We should follow that. Why is this nation and this world in chaos? Because we don't follow God. I mean, that's a simplistic answer, but it is because...
I'd say there are a myriad of other reasons, but because even God-fearing men can do terrible things.
Well, there are God-fearing men who have done bad things. You can read about that in the Bible.
I'd say there are God-fearing men who are doing terrible things right now.
I would not say that there are God-fearing men who like live in sin, who are capable of doing certain things. I mean, Christians are capable of bad things, but like not like some. A lot of people, they do wicked things in the name of Christianity, in the name of Jesus Christ, and they're false teachers. And what I would encourage you and others here to do is, I already kind of put this out there earlier, examine everything I'm saying, examine everything I'm doing, and those who were out here earlier today, examine everything we're saying, everything we're telling you, the literature we give out, the signs we're showing, examine it according to the Bible, and see if what we're saying is true. If it's true, if what I'm saying, the others who were here earlier, if what we're saying aligns with the Bible, then take heed. If it doesn't align with the Bible, then forget about it. And do that with any person, like any Christian preacher, pastor, evangelist, whoever. Examine it according to the Bible, and because it's possible that I have said things today that weren't true. That's possible.
That's not supposed to be taken literally.
And may God forgive me for that if I have. And others, like we're not perfect. We do sin. We don't live in sin, but we do sin. We're not, and I don't claim to be perfect. I never have.
But he's acting as though he's one without sin.
But so just examine the scriptures with what you've heard today, and ultimately, don't let anybody, myself included, don't let anyone keep you from hinder you from the kingdom of God. I'm hoping that our being here today, as well as in the past, that's planting seeds, maybe hopefully in your own heart, that you'll think about, where do I stand before God? If I'm going to die and go to hell, what's that?
Well, it's just a lot of people.
If I'm going to die and go to hell, there's something I can do about that. Well, yeah, you can repent and trust in Jesus Christ. That's how you go to heaven. Put it very simply. And so consider that today, okay? And
That's like a deal.
Well, usually the tour would come through here, but they're purposefully not doing it. And if he tries to turn it
Consider this. You would understand where I'm coming from on this.
This is not part of his college. Ignore him.
I read up on my scriptures. I do have 2 Bibles. Maybe I'm not asking you to buy like a satanic Bible or anything, but maybe just read up on modern Satanism.
Thank you, material girl.
Because I did come here in respect to try to understand you.
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And
Why I like spandex.
and I encourage you to do the same.
I actually wouldn't mind having a copy of the Satanic Bible to read it, but I know I could probably find it online, right?
Yeah.
Because I do want to study.
It's like $20 on Amazon.
And I know it's not long. It's actually short.
It's like 100, 200 pages.
So that studying what other like books, Book of Mormon, the the Quran, what they say, and so that I can speak to them.
He knows nothing but the Tanakh.
Because I want them to join me in heaven. I want you to join me in heaven, and you can, and you know how. But a lot of people don't because they love their sin too much. So is that Desiree, right?
Desiree, yeah.
Desiree, okay. Thank you for the conversation.
Absolutely.
And I'm praying for you and the other students here.
Do ask if I might have one of those pamphlets. I just like how it looks.
What's that?
I actually don't like how the pamphlets looked. They're designed very nicely. If I could maybe have another one, I'm not going to give it to her, don't worry.
Okay, well.
I'll hold these for you if you want.
What you do with it, that's up to you.
No, I'm going to keep this one. I do like how it looks.
That one's funny. That looks like me.
This is a genuinely good design, though. I like this. I like how this looks.
Yeah, I mean the people who
Compliment
the people who make it.
It looks cool.
It does not. It looks like it was made by a 15-year-old who finally found out what Microsoft Paint does.
Hey, look, I like this style of shit. Okay.
Like keep your kindness.
It was like a bottle of Jack Daniels. It brings me back.
Maybe keep in mind the people around you who may or may not have uteruses.
Oh, are we being sexist there?
I'm not in support of this.
Are we being sexist?
Oh no, I'm
Am I being sexist?
Sounds kind of sexist to me.
We're
I'm sexist now.
They were.
Well, I appreciate your being reasonable and respectful, unlike some people on the campus.
I mean, you didn't inherently outright disrespect me aside from showing up.
This is disrespect. This is disrespect to me. This is disrespect to them. This is disrespect to all of your friends. This is disrespect. Keep that in mind.
Me personally, if I
Well,
were
thank you
your
for being
friend,
respectful in spite of them being disrespectful. Thank you.
I've got too many health problems for that.
But and I don't really I'm not really supportive of this. Like I said, abortions happen only up until a certain point, and then
I got it.
I mean, I didn't walk up, you didn't insult me, you respected my name, my pronouns. this sort of thing around here.
So I hadn't seen a lot of the
Well,
movies.
I'm not going to say there aren't any Christians or professing Christians that come here that don't do that, because I don't know. I'm hoping that when we come here, that we never do that. I don't think anyone that I go to the streets with would do that, because I wouldn't be with them if they did.
I had HBO Max.
Because
HBO Max is all the Ghibli movies.
we tried not to disrespect anyone, or some may consider some of the stuff disrespectful, but trying not to be rude or anything. To have rational dialogue in a country where free speech is still protected currently. And so I knew, Lord willing, you'll see us again. And maybe you'll give some thought to these things, and I'm going to be praying for yourself and other students here, because I want you all to join us in heaven. I care about your well-being. I don't want any of you to die and go to hell.
But it's not on HBO Max.
So thank you much, Desiree.
I'll get going. But
Okay.
next time you come around,
I love it.
probably going to be here. You best bring a satanic Bible. We're going to talk about that shit. You got that?
Maybe I'll get a copy. Maybe I'll read it.
Hopefully. I'm not trying to convert you or anything, but
At least I may listen to the audio when I'm on the road.